Hello, one and all. My name is Ron Cook. Today we are going to talk about progressivism and the Korean War. And since time is short for this little video defense for this research paper, we are going to dive right in. Like I said, my name is Ron. I have an MA in history with a minor in education. I'm a current PhD student in history, and I am about to begin my dissertation phase in May. The interest for this project stemmed from the initial reading on the historiographical debates over the Korean War, looking at the various pros and cons of the Korean War, the ideas of containment, and that's seen in the Marshall Plan and the Cold War, and how these, two kind of interacted. The main flux seemed to be either pro containment or against containment in the different writings that I read. My prior research concerning progressivism sparked an interest about the ideological and political roots of each of these events, and I decided to zero in on the Korean War since that's kind of the kickoff to the Cold War and kind of really shows the culmination of the Marshall Plan and the first kind of pushing out of the ideals of containment. This is significant because much of American history post-Reconstruction is heavily intertwined with progressivism. Yet from my long research, few have analyzed the Korean and Cold Wars and their ideological foundations as being formed and implemented through a progressive standard. And this is kind of true for much of American history. It's there, but I have spent a lot of time doing some revisionist work of what progressivism actually was and what it actually did, as opposed to what they say about themselves. The key research question for this paper is, how does progressive thought, politics, and ethics help to explain the entrance into the Korean War? So, in other words, instead of focusing on containment and saying it was good or bad, I want to look at containment, the Marshall Plan, and the entrance into the Korean War, thus extrapolate that to the Cold War. I want to look at what is the ideological root of containment. Where did they come up with these ideas? To do so, I had to use a heavy dose of revisionism upon, as I just said, what progressivism actually was and is. From here, the discussion takes place as to some of the overall arching historiographical arguments put forth by various scholars. And these two ideals in tandem allow an analysis of the Truman Doctrine and why the ideological roots of progressivism help to best explain America's foreign and domestic policy after World War II. I used a variety of sources to accomplish this, including State Department documents, presidential papers surrounding Truman and the era in general, a number of secondary books and articles in diagnosing the historiography, and a plethora of sources in defining progressivism and its founders. At the end of this, the evidence shows that progressivism, which I've done a lot of work on, indeed has authoritarian and imperial tendencies since its inception in the late 19th century, which in turn helps to understand the ideological roots behind the ideals of things like containment, the Korean and Cold Wars. Questions for further study could include more revisionist work upon progressivism in general, and then offering a fresh look at the Korean and Cold Wars through the lens of progressive thought. As the vast majority of thinkers, politicians, and even military advisors during the first half of the 20th century, and even up until today, were progressives, much of America's foreign and domestic policy and even military strategy were formed around these progressive beliefs. So the importance of this line of study truly cannot be overstated. That's what I'm going after. I want to thank everyone for spending the time to hear me ramble, and I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you.